John Sandor, JOHNSANDOR. All right, sorry, I'm used to just taking questions out of the gate, but
you wanted to tell us about it, tell us what's going on, and then
thank you.
As you see it, and then we'll take it.
Okay. Well, so yeah, traffic ramp meters are kind of a tried and true method to kind of preserve interstate flow. It's a good countermeasure to keep things moving along the main line. They're used in a lot of states around the country. So North Carolina, of course, we're going to try them here. 540 is a very congested highway. And so this is a good solution to kind of buy us more time before we go to a full-blown kind of widening project. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be a successful project where we'll see some improvement along 540 without too many impacts other places.
Talk about some of the traffic increases that have happened over the last 10 years. I mean, how have you seen the traffic flow along this road increase? I would take this to work. I choose not to.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people may make that same decision.
540 has seen a lot of growth due to North Raleigh. And so obviously traffic has gone up considerably along this route since it was originally constructed back in the early 2000s. Everyone's trying to get to RTP. So we've seen congestion as a result of that growth increase along the route. And so we've got to do something in the short term before we get to a full-blown widening project.
Do you have, are you able to
this as high as I can? Every little bit helps when we're standing this close to the road. You don't need to lean in. I'm just going to get it higher to your level.
Perfect.
Every little bit helps when we're standing this close to
do you think you can either have Steve or somebody, unless you can give us some numbers now, just some idea of how traffic flow capacity has actually increased on this road?
I'd be throwing you some numbers. They'll be rough. They did some before studies, and I want to say it was captured from, let's say you got on here at Falls of Noose, and your end result was Highway 70. It took about 22 minutes is what the average time was based on the before study.
And what would it take if it were clear?
So other locations, other data from other cities, they've seen almost a half reduction. So we could potentially get that down to maybe 11 minutes, which would be a significant savings.
Talk about the cost. It's obviously widening the road. Have you done any studies on that cost? And I know this is just a fraction of it.
Obviously, to widen the road is considerable. This corridor, there would be a lot of money involved in that. So, and that is coming, but that would be many years away. So this is a quick kind of solution to get out on the ground and get some immediate impacts for a pretty fraction of the cost to what full-blown widening project would be.
What can drivers expect? When's it going to go live? And run down some of the details for folks who haven't really been maybe not paying as much attention as yes it is.
So the plan will be to turn the ramp signals on Tuesday morning, so drivers can expect to start to see the red lights and green lights and begin stopping on the ramp where they currently don't have to, unless there's of course traffic. So they'll need to be paying attention to the signals in their lane, so they'll stop and go when they're required to. So yeah, we're just asking that those drivers begin obeying those laws as they are turned on Tuesday morning.
I do, yeah.
So it's going to be an adaptive system. We don't actually know, somebody asked me that question yesterday, when is it going to turn on? We don't actually know, because it's going to be constantly pulling in data from the road and all the traffic out there, so it's going to go on when it perceives the need is actually there to turn itself on. It will do the same, yeah, it will turn itself off. So it's constantly pulling in data from the roadway. We put in a bunch of sensors out there. It's going to always be processing that data and crunching those numbers and to determine when it wants to go live and when it wants to shut off.
Sounds like Skynet. I mean, who's it?
It's some impressive logic. There's algorithms that are just milliseconds processing that data.
Talk a little bit about, I mean, at this point it's scalable, right? If this succeeds, I was just driving eastbound on 540 a couple days ago, and it was a disaster right around Glenwood, and it always seems to be. Are there plans to go forward with this? Talk a little bit about scalability.
This is, I wouldn't call it a pilot project, but this is kind of our pilot project in North Carolina, where we're deploying these signals along these ramps, and the plan would be more to come. Division 10 in the Charlotte area. They're looking at deploying some in the near years, and we'll be looking at the same thing here in the Triangle in years to come. Again, it's a quick thing to get out, low cost, and it does, based on the national studies, it does yield some positive benefits.
You mentioned low cost. Talk about the costs, taxpayers.
So I think this project was originally proposed about $1.4 million, and as far the last I heard, we're pretty close to hitting those numbers. So.
Are there any plans to scale it up here in the Triangle? You mentioned Charlotte area, but
we've got, when the original study was done about 5 years ago, there were a lot of ramps that were identified as potential candidates. These were selected. They're along a corridor. It'd be a good kind of way to study a before and after with better data being on a corridor. But future deployments could be isolated here, there, wherever the need is. So we've got a list in the Triangle of potential candidates going forward.
And when do you think you might have a handle on how this is going, right? I mean, obviously there's a learning curve for drivers, so
yes.
When do you think the state will know how this is performing?
So this will be an ongoing system, so it's constantly going to be tweaking itself, and of course seasonal variations in traffic will dictate how it operates. So it's going to be something that, just like a traffic signal, you're going to monitor that corridor, you're going to monitor how it works along this corridor. So you'll make changes as needed. So, you know, it's something that will be ongoing. So we plan to spend the first week really assessing it, getting it kind of off the ground, making some tweaks that week, and then our hope is it'll be up and running, and then from there forward it'll be minor tweaks here and there.
So what kind of tweaks would you expect? I mean, what are some of the hiccups that might come up in the first week? I mean, what are the designers telling you to expect? Really, they've rolled these things out many times.
They've really put our minds at ease. They've been reassuring that you know, to expect really not much to happen. That can't be adjusted really quickly. Some of our concerns internally would be, you know, what could happen to some of our arterials. So us in City of Raleigh will be watching that very closely as these things come online, what those impacts are going to be, and trying to find that perfect balance between those streets and the highway. But the plan is these are going in specifically to improve flow along 540. So we do anticipate some impacts on those arterials.
You know, that's the one big concern we heard when we were asking around a little while back, and it was the idea that the traffic would then back up either onto these, you know, as you call them, arterials, but
yeah.
You know, on the Six Forks and the falls up north. And,
we do anticipate some of that, and what we're hoping to see is, while there could be an increase in travel time along those corridors getting to the freeway, but once they get on the highway, the net gain would be an improvement. They'll save time on the freeway, so overall they'll see an overall trip, their time for their trip to go down.
Just to be clear, as a commuter, I know that right here is and there, 4 times down 540 here, you will stop cold at rush hour in the morning.
Yeah.
Most, if not many, mornings.
Yeah.
Is the plan here, when this is up and running, that will not be the case? Can commuters expect to not have to hit the brakes, at least to the point of stopping cold on 540 anymore?
That's the hope, that we will see constant flow along 540, so where drivers can cruise through here. They might have to slow down just a little bit, but nothing like today. They would have to slow down to almost a near stop and essentially crawl from this point, almost Capitol Boulevard, all the way to 70. Our hope is that they'll be able to maintain some sort of acceptable speed through this entire corridor.
And if that's the carrot, there is a stick, right? And it's the law enforcement side on the other side. Have you talked to law enforcement about maybe not? I mean, is there any plan to ticket people in the first week, or when do you expect law enforcement to start enforcing the red light, stopping the red light? We
will have Highway Patrol out here probably for the first week just to have a presence. They might choose to perhaps pursue somebody that does go through it. We're probably going to be doing warnings. Just remind folks, you know, this is a law. It's like any other red light. It doesn't carry the same infraction weight. It's just a civil penalty, but still it has court costs and those kinds of...
$190 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So nothing I'd want to get involved with myself. So, and it's not your typical red light where 30 seconds to a minute. It's literally going to be a couple seconds at the most. So it's not going to be a huge impact to that driver. So it's really not worth it.
Copy that. I'm sorry to That's what I would
What's the danger of rear end collision? I mean, sometimes I'm on the on-ramp, I'm tuned out, I'm ready to go, I'm getting on the highway, not expecting a red light, there's a car stopping in front of me. I mean, how do we mitigate that danger?
So, as you see these cars getting onto the on-ramp, they're going at a lower speed, so the hope is the drivers are going to be paying attention. We've got the flashers here to warn them in advance. The signals are active, so, slow down. So yeah, they'll be coming on here at a slower speed, hopefully maintain that slow speed. And again, you could be seeing cues from the ramp signals back to a point somewhere in here on a day-to-day basis. So, we really don't anticipate too much of a rear end collision type issue developing here. And we should, of course, the trade-off is going to be less rear ends on the interstate because hopefully the traffic will be moving through there. So that's, again, a safety improvement that we would see along the highway.
Do you know, is there data from other states? I know that data generally supports this as far as an effective way to move traffic along in the short run, as you described.
Yeah.
But is there data on rear-end collisions? They almost axiomatically must go up. And so, do you know by what percentage?
We've not pulled any studies, at least I'm not aware of one. I'm sure, again, we're looking at this, there'll be a research component attached to this as well in North Carolina. And that'll be things they'll be looking at is the safety benefits as well. So as that comes out, we're going to be sharing that with everybody because we want everybody to kind of see the before and after, not hiding anything with this system. It's so everyone can see the benefits and also the safety benefits because safety benefits are a very important piece of the puzzle.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on Facebook. Will you say and spell your name one more time just for folks who caught this late?
It's John
Sandor?
JOHNSANDOR.
Awesome. Thanks so
All
much.
right.
What's your position here?
Deputy Division Traffic Engineer.
There you have it. Thank you. Facebook Nation. Thanks.
Is there anyone else stand on it?
Any other questions?
Now that they've dominated the press conference and used all the questions up, they asked him what he's doing over his weekend. All right, thank you, sir.
Watching State hopefully win.
Right on, man.
But not holding my breath on that one.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just follow up with a couple things.
Sure.
I wanted to clarify, when you said the Falls of New